there is an increased effort in Congress to prohibit elected officials from trading stocks.
Yeah, last week a Senate committee narrowly passed a bill that would ban lawmakers, their spouses, the president, and vice president from doing so. Joining us now over Zoom is the Hill's congressional reporter Michael Schnell. So, Michael, what is the latest on this effort to ban, stock trading?
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. Look, I will note that the push to ban lawmaker stock trading has had several lives over the past few years. There have been a number of times where there's been momentum for this issue, but then it's fizzled just at the end when progress was on the precipice because it's such a difficult issue for a number of lawmakers. Of course, for starters, a number of lawmakers do trade stocks. Now, while the Stock Act requires them to report their transactions made within the past few weeks, many of them do trade stocks, and they feel that it's necessary to keep up their income because the income for members of Congress has remained stagnant at $174,000 for years now, and folks want other avenues to make money. But then, of course, the other side of the coin is that there is this conflict of interest aspect to it. There have been a number of cases in the past. In fact, there was just an ethics report in the last few weeks that raises concerns about members or their spouses using the proprietary information they learned through their job to help dictate their stock trades, which is unfair to the public. So this current push right now is in the wake of that ethics report for Congressman Mike Kelly. He's a Republican from Pennsylvania. The ethics committee found that he violated the code of conduct through his wife's stock transactions for a company that has a facility in Kelly's district. And also after Kelly had learned some proprietary information about the company that had not yet been announced, that Kelly's wife traded after the congressman had learned that information, therefore making a lot of money off of that transaction. Now, there was no way to tell if the wife exactly knew of the information. That's what the ethics committee had concluded. But still, it's this appearance of a conflict of interest that is not desirable among the public. So we're seeing this current push right now. We're gonna have to see if there's any movement on it. But certainly, this is another one of those moments where enthusiasm is high.
So, Michael, what's really interesting is this is one of the rare occasions where there appears to be some bipartisan support.
That's right. And what's been interesting about stock trading ban for years now is that it has been a bipartisan, undertaking. There have been a number of Republicans, a number of Democrats who have teamed up on the issue. In fact, right now, we're seeing a situation where there's Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna, a Republican from Florida. She's vowing to force a vote on legislation that would ban members from trading stocks. It's a bill sponsored by Congressman Tim Burchett, a Republican from Tennessee. And there are a number of Democrats who are also saying that they want to do the same. So we could see that discharge petition, which is a procedural gambit to force legislation to the floor, potentially get support from Democrats, despite it being spearheaded by a Republican, because this issue is so bipartisan among its supporters.
So we know there is that bipartisan support for it, but on the Republican side of things, it appears that a sort of carve out for President Trump is going to be a part of this bill ultimately if it passes. What is that carve out?
Yeah, so that was in the Senate bill, and this is one of the most difficult parts of writing a stock trading ban bill, is there are so many different variations. What's the reporting standard? How quickly do people have to divest? What do they have to divest into? What holdings can they have? Can they still have maybe some mutual funds, things like that? That's the difficulty in crafting a bill like this. And then, of course, what's going to come up is, should the president have to divest? This is likely going to be a key point of contention and conversation as these talks get underway for what this stock trading ban bill will actually look like. But I think that issue underscores the greater problem here, the fact that crafting this legislation is going to be so difficult because folks have been working on it for years, so they have a lot of their ideas, and B, there are a lot of different variations to do it and a lot of different people that could be included or exempt: the president, Supreme Court justices, federal judges, other things like that.
So, Michael, if this were to pass, what would the consequences be if it were violated?
So in Congressman Burchett's bill, which is the one that Anna Paulina Luna is going to try to force to the floor, it would be a $100,000 fine per penalty of this law. There are, of course, then questions of, how do you enforce that? Would it be enforceable? Yeah, they're putting quite the hefty penalty and punishment on it. But again, there are a number of questions of, will that actually be the penalty that makes it in the final piece of legislation? That's just one variation of the bill. And then how do you actually regulate that and make sure that it's enforceable?
All right. The Hill's Michael Schnell joining us this Monday morning. Michael, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, guys.